She stood frozen at the gate, surrounded by officers, as dozens of eyes locked onto her. Her boarding pass crumpled in her trembling hand. The plane she was supposed to be on began taxiing away without her. Cameras recorded. Whispers spread. A well-dressed black woman, escorted away like a criminal. No crime, no warning, just judgment. But no one knew who she was or what would happen next. This is the story of how a mother's humiliation brought an airline to its knees. Welcome, story lovers. From where are you watching? Comment your city. She wasn't famous, but everyone in her circle knew her power. Evelyn Brooks was the kind of woman who wore grace-like armor, retired school principal, beloved church elder, and mother to a Fortune 500 CEO. At 72, she lived a quiet, proud life between book clubs, gardening, and video calls with her daughter, Danielle, whose success she'd nurtured since the days of hand-me-downs and second jobs. That morning, Evelyn arrived at the airport early, dressed in her Sunday best, clutching a boarding pass marked first class. It was her first solo trip in years, flying to meet Danielle for a rare mother-daughter weekend. The terminal buzzed with the usual chatter, rushing travelers, rolling luggage, boarding calls. Everything felt routine. Until she noticed the glances, the whispers, and then the tightening of security around her gate. Evelyn didn't know it yet, but her journey was about to make national headlines. Wait a second. If you enjoy this story, please support us by clicking the like button. We'd also love to know. Comment below and tell us which city you're watching from. If you'd like to see, Evelyn handed her boarding pass to the gate agent with a polite smile. But instead of being welcomed aboard, she was met with hesitation, a long pause, a glance to someone behind her, then a forced smile that didn't quite reach the eyes. Moments later, two security officers approached, calm at first, then firm. "Ma'am, step aside. We need to ask you a few questions." Confused, Evelyn complied. She wasn't used to being treated like this, especially not when she had followed every rule, every protocol. But the questions kept coming. Why was she flying first class? Was the ticket really hers? Did she have identification, something more official? Her voice trembled as she tried to explain she was visiting her daughter, that she had every right to be there. But the doubt in their eyes stayed. Then came the final blow. They pulled her aside in full view of other passengers. People stared, some whispered, one woman even pulled out her phone. And just like that, Evelyn was told she couldn't board. "Security concerns," they said vaguely. Tears welled up in her eyes, not just from humiliation, but from something deeper, a familiar ache of being treated like she didn't belong. She sat alone near the terminal windows, heart pounding, the first-class plane departing without her. She didn't know that at 30,000 feet above, her daughter had just found out, and the fallout would shake the airline industry to its core. Danielle's phone buzzed mid-flight, dozens of messages. Confused, she opened a video already going viral. Her mother, surrounded by officers, humiliated at the gate, her breath caught. The woman in that video wasn't just anyone. That was Evelyn Brooks, the mother of the woman who had just signed a $5 billion partnership with the very airline now dragging her through the dirt. Danielle didn't wait to land. She called her team at 30,000 feet and said 5 chilling words: pull the entire deal. Now, within hours, boardrooms lit up, executives scrambled, stocks shook. What started as another act of quiet racism had just triggered a corporate earthquake. This wasn't just about a seat anymore. It was about respect and payback. Dear audience, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to give it a like. It really helps. The airline issued a public apology. They called it a misunderstanding. But for Evelyn, no apology could erase the sting of being treated like a threat for simply existing in a space she had earned. And for Danielle, it wasn't just about her mother. It was about every black woman who had ever been doubted, dismissed, or disrespected. The $5 billion deal, gone. But what stayed was the message. Racism, no matter how polished or a cost, a real one. This wasn't just personal justice. It was a line in the sand. Because the question isn't whether this will happen again. The question is, when it does, will the world stay silent? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories and new videos.